Hi YouTube, this is my first video. My name is Allie and this is Luke, and this is going to be vlogs about just pregnancy and early parenthood and the struggles that we've been through since finding out that we were going to have this little guy. So I'll start with the beginning, which is as it's a very good place to start. Me and my husband got married after 7 years of dating in September of last year, of 2015. We got pregnant pretty much right away with this little guy. We were both very excited, and it came to us as a huge surprise that we got pregnant so quickly. I was very sick through most of my pregnancy. I actually had a routine because my husband Todd works nights. I would wake up, let the dogs out, come upstairs, throw up, and then feed the dogs and get on with my day. We have 3 dogs. We actually got our 3rd dog, Kylo, 2 weeks before we found out that we were pregnant with Luke. So we have a crazy little household here. So I was very sick throughout most of my pregnancy. Like I said, I vomited pretty much every single day for pretty much the first 30 weeks. I actually lost weight in the beginning of my pregnancy, about 12 pounds. Because my husband has Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which is a syndrome that affects the heart and the pathway, and his sister was diagnosed with a hole in her heart as an infant. We went through a lot of extra sonograms and testing to make sure that his heart was fine, and everything has always come back normal, and he does have a normal heart, which is fantastic. So throughout the pregnancy, we just kind of muddled along and prepared for our little boy. We had this pretty awesome themed gender reveal party. It was Star Wars themed. Our last puppy's name is Kylo Ren, and this is Luke, if that gives you any indication of how much we love Star Wars. So that was kind of the beginning of bringing this little guy into the world. He is very happy, and he has put us through some struggles. He's a good baby, though. I'll say that much for him. So I told my husband that I was pregnant on November 19th, so we're coming up on a year. I bought a bib a couple years ago that said, it was blue, and it says, "Born to play Xbox with my daddy." And I gave him that in a little baggie with the pregnancy test. And like I said, we found out we were pregnant in November. We got married in September. It happened very fast. So all of us, we were just stunned. And my husband's reaction was like, "Well, okay, we'll make this work." And we have. As he grew, our excitement grew. He is our first. And we prepared the dogs by listening to baby sounds, and we told everyone that we were pregnant on Christmas. Everyone was very excited for us. Like I said, we had been together for 7 years prior to getting married, and we own a home. So we were ready to do this. So he was due July 31st, and he was born on July 31st. However, the days leading up to delivery, I was measuring 44 weeks pregnant at like 39. So they kept thinking he was going to be huge. So they sent me for a bunch of sonograms to make sure. Turns out that I had double water. I had enough water for basically 2 babies. So I just looked like a beached whale. But he was only 7 pounds, 8 ounces. Labor and delivery was so easy for me. I'm extremely lucky and extremely blessed on how easy labor and delivery was for me. I was actually induced because they were afraid he was going to be big because of how big I was measuring. I was induced on July 31st at 10:30 in the morning. This little guy was born on July 31st at 7:57 p.m. And he was born 7 pounds 8 ounces, and he was 21 inches long. When he was born, he did have the cord wrapped around his neck twice. And he had a tremor. His whole body was shaking. So they put him on my chest, and he started to shake, so they took him off to make sure he wasn't having a seizure. Which they ruled out immediately that it wasn't a seizure, that it was just a tremor, and they kind of shrugged it off to the fact that, you know, his oxygen was cut off a little bit from the cord being wrapped around his neck. I was given only Pitocin. I was not given Cervidil because I was already 3 centimeters dilated. And actually, I feel like I took it like a champ. I didn't get an epidural until I was 8 centimeters. And only because I had like I said, I was on Pitocin, so I had a contraction that lasted well over 4 minutes, and the pain almost knocked me out. I threw up, and that was as far as I could go. I was trying so hard to do it without an epidural, but I think 8 centimeters is pretty good. I pushed him out in just 2 pushes. They said, "All right, let's start pushing at 7:30," and at 7:57, he was part of our lives. Oh, it's okay. He is the first grandchild on both sides, the first niece or nephew on both sides, and the first great-grandchild on all of the sides. So he is kind of spoiled rotten. And that's pretty much how labor and delivery went. It wasn't until we got over to the mother-baby unit that things started to go crazy. And I will elaborate on that in my next video. So stay tuned. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.